and good afternoon to our colleagues in Bucharest. Thank you, Ambassador, Jean Lavin, distinguished representatives from the EARC in Bucharest and Houston Institute. It is a pleasure to be here, and it's a pleasure to be among the first speakers for today's debate. I have to admit, some time ago when I was invited to be part of this conference, I never thought I would be in Washington, D.C. The difference it makes is that I had to change all my speech because I can see things differently from here than I see things from Bucharest. I think navigating towards resilience, technological game changers, these are two important words and two important concepts that somehow they come together and they support each other. And I think they are very actual in the current context. Discussing about them, somehow we are forced to think about the future, because we have to admit that in the current security situation, with all the issues we have to solve, sometimes we get too much carried away by the current operation. We put a lot of energy in solving the problem now, today, and we need to find time, and it's important. And this is why I'm glad that I have together with us today representatives from headquarters SACTI. We need to think about the future. But before we get to the future, as we speak, war has returned to Europe, a war of choice for Russia, a war of national survival for Ukraine, and the battle in support of our values for the West. We don't see an end in sight right now, so while we'll admire the resilience of the Ukrainian society in dealing with the unjustified Russian attacks, we need to prepare ourselves for a long confrontation with the Russian Federation regime. This part of confrontation is felt very well, especially at the NATO eastern flank, and especially in the region when I'm coming from, the Black Sea region. Russian war in Ukraine has fundamentally destabilized the Black Sea region and has caused greater insecurity among the littoral states, with repercussions on the security environment. In the war against Ukraine, the Black Sea is part of the Russian joint operation area. From here, missiles are launched towards Ukraine, civil or military infrastructure. The region has become the stage for frequent force buildup, major military redeployments, maritime incidents, and limitation of freedom of navigation. No further than last evening, sirens warning the population about the imminence of an attack from air sounded in Ukrainian cities closer to Romanian border. But this happened not only in Ukraine. Alert messages about the possibility that objects from the air to fall are being regularly sent to Romanian citizens living in the Danube Delta, closer to the Ukrainian ports, which are constantly under Russian attack. This has become the new normal and impacts massively on the Romanian population perception about war, about their security, and about the scrutiny under which the armed forces are being today. The war in Ukraine will continue to generate regional instability, prompted increased risk and threats to Romania and to the region. This situation generates effects on multiple domains, such as military, economic, and social. There is a constant risk associated to the increase of probability for incidents at the NATO borders, such as a possible failed missile or drone launch. Romania's infrastructure or commercial ships inside territorial waters could potentially be hit by accident. The Russian jamming activities are constantly being active, affecting the GPS communication and posing a risk of collision to the transiting ships inside Romanian territorial waters or entering the restricted areas for navigation notified by Russia, making them vulnerable to escalatory measures. In addition, naval mines floating adrift, the uncertainty related to the security of energy and food transport corridor pose a significant risk to marine traffic in the Black Sea. All of this are reasons that make us take very seriously not only concepts as deterrence and defense, but also concepts as resilience. And I believe that Romania is very well positioned to build on the current programs and successes at national and allied level and create a true multi-domain approach able to deter, if necessary to respond to any aggressive action, but also to improve the resilience of society given the following strengths: the population support and attitude towards NATO, and particularly US, the successful implementation of the NATO summit decision in terms of allied presence, the resource allocation for defense, 2% from 2017, evolving to 2.5% starting this year, the maturity of the major procurement programs and the system interoperability with the US, Patriot, HIMARS, F-16, Piranha, Maritime Domain Awareness Program, and so on, the operational experience of the Romanian Armed Forces gained in combined operations such as Afghanistan and Iraq. A part of some mature procurement programs for the armed forces, we contribute to national resilience by proposing a new law on population preparation for defense, by creating host nation support capabilities, and contributing as much as we can to a rejuvenation of our defense industrial base. Now shifting towards technology, we need to acknowledge that advanced technology on the battlefield are game changers. And I would argue that they contribute to resilience also. We notice today that classic conflicts have not disappeared, but advanced technologies such as drones, cyber technologies, satellite technologies for surveillance and reconnaissance generate transformation of the battlefield, amplifying the effects and adapting the maneuver of forces and means. In the near future, probably 4 technologies will redefine the way military conflicts are conducted: artificial intelligence, autonomous combat systems and platforms, quantum technologies, and offensive cyber system. At the strategic level, the resilience of the security architecture of a state or of an alliance will depend on the level of adaptation to technology, the ability to implement advanced technology, and innovation. The resilience of security architecture will be the key element that determines the resolution of the limitation of a conflict. Advanced technologies as well as technological edge are defining for the resilience of a state or of an alliance. In this context, the way in which the defense system or the states will manage to implement the new technologies and the armed forces will manage to quickly adapt to the change will determine the military power of the state, but also the ability to face the new emerging threats. And I'm sure that within this context, General Lavin, as Supreme Allied Commander Transformation, will touch upon this implication, resilience, and technology in more depth. Not only the ACT is very well positioned to drive the transformation of the alliance, but also General Lavin comes with a great operational and command experience that give him a very authorized voice in speaking about the topic of today's conference. A graduate from the French Air and Space Force Academy, a pilot with operational experience in former Yugoslavia and Iraq, a commander with operational experience in Afghanistan, a strategic planner, a former chief of staff of the French Air and Space Forces, General Lavin leads the transformation of NATO. And not only that, within this complex task of pushing NATO towards the digital transformation, he continues to play rugby, which says a lot about his resilience. Philip, it's a pleasure to give you the floor. Thank you.